we have seen the scale of measurement. In this part we are going to discuss about the organization of collected data. We know that the term or the word data is in plural form. Its singular form is datum. Dictionary meaning of the word datum is a fact. Therefore, the word data means more than one fact. In wider sense, we can say that data is a numerical fact describing a group or a situation. Data refers to any details regarding numerical records or reports. In statistics, the data are collected in the form of measurement of height, weight, then intelligence, achievement, attitude, etc. These data are collected by using various tools like attitude scale, intelligence test, that means test, scales, questionnaire, inventories, etc. The data collected by these tools is in the form of numerical. Numerical data have little meaning. Understanding the meaning of data and drawing out or deriving the conclusions, data have to be organized systematically. Organization of data refers to the systematic arrangement of numerical facts so that it become understandable or it become easy to understand and convenient for the further statistical treatment. There are lot of benefits to organizing data. The first and the foremost benefit are it decreases time consuming to search the data. Disorganized data have many bottlenecks in terms of data structuring. Suppose you have collected a data of 1000 students from various schools in the form of achievement scores, and you need to find out how many students have the score greater than 90. If the data are not organized, then it will take lot of time, effort and resources to collect the data. But if you have organized the data in the form of descending order or in the form of rank order, then it will become very easy and quickly you can sort the data. Therefore, the organization of data is very important from the research point of view. The organizing data also helps in decreasing data loss and data errors. If you have any confusion about the various sets of data, then the best solution for this problem is nothing but data organization. The data organization also helps in why you are collected the data and what you can use the data in proper way. In this way, we can say that the organization of data is the important part in statistics. Now, the data can be organized in three forms. One is in the form of statistical table, second is in the form of rank order, and third is in the form of frequency distribution. Now we will consider organization of data in statistical tables. The data organized in table, and the table is constructed by dividing it into rows and columns. Let us consider the example. Researcher has collected the sample for his research to conduct the experiment on two groups, say experimental group and control group, and he tabulated the data in the form of he tabulated this data and he divided the data into experimental group and control group. It is shown in table. We can see that this table divided into rows and columns. So constructing the table, you should remember some points. Firstly, you should prepare the title of the table. The title should be simple, concise and unambiguous. It should appear on the top of the table. Then the table is divided into rows and columns. The rows and columns are organized in logical order. The headings of each row and each column should be prepared as brief as possible. You can use some abbreviations or some short forms in heading of rows or columns. Then the rows and suppose there are 2 or 3 columns or rows having same heading, then combine it into common heading. Subtotals of each classification and the total of all classifications should be given in bottom of the table or in right column of the table. The units in which the data are measured should be given in first column in column heading of the table. Again, you should remember that the necessary footnotes should be given below the table to avoid the ambiguity. Again, if necessary, you should mention the source of data from which it was collected. In this way, you can tabulate the data into this form very nicely, and as possible as it gives a clear picture of all your data, and it is convenient for the further statistical treatment. Now I have presenting another example. As we can tabulate the raw scores as well as we can tabulate the calculated statistics like percentage, mean, median, standard deviation, etc. In this table, the mean, standard deviation and t values of pre-test and post-test squares of experimental group and control group are given. Now, the second form of organization of data is organization of data in rank order. Let us consider the second organization, rank order. These are the scores, and we have to arrange the scores in rank order. So arrange the scores into descending order. So we will arrange the scores in descending order as (40), (36), (35), (34), (33), (27), (26), (25), (24), (23), (22), then 20, 18, 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and 3. Now these can be written in rank order as we prepare the table for this. Now first column shows rank order and second column shows scores. Now first rank order, that means first, second, third, these are the rank order. Now we write these scores here: 40, 36, 35, 34, 33, 27, 26 and 25. Again here rank and scores. Rank is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. Scores 24, 23, 22, 20, 18, 15, 13, 12. Again we require column rank and scores. Now rank is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. And the scores are 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. In this way, we can organize the data in rank order. Now, the third form of organization of data is frequency distribution. So, let us consider third form, frequency distribution. Let us consider an example. The 35 scores are given and we have to tabulate the scores in frequency distribution. Now, if we count these scores, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 and 35. That means total number of scores n is equal to 35. Now, when we have to tabulate the data in frequency distribution, you find the range of this data. So, you consider the least score. Least score is 1 and highest score is 9. That means range is equal to highest score minus lowest score, or least score. 9 minus 1, which is equal to 8. Again, if we observe the scores, then it can be easily seen that these scores are repeated frequently. That means these scores comes again and again. In this type of data, we make the distribution as a score and its frequency type. So consider the scores. Take first column as scores, and we now count the scores one by one by tally marks. Now take a highest score on top of this table. So take 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now we will count the scores. Say 2, then take a tally mark as line, then 7, 8, 4, 3, 5, 1, 9, 7, 5, 4. In this way, we can find that the tally marks for 9 are 3, for 8, 4, 7 has 4 tally marks, 6 has 4 tally marks, then 5, 7 tally marks, 4 has 4 and 3 has 3 tally marks, 2 has 3 and 1 has 2. Now if we count the tally marks, then it will give you frequency. Now we will count these tally marks. It will give us the frequency of respective score. Now for 9 tally marks are 3, so its frequency is 3. For 8 frequency is 4. For 7 frequency 4. 6 has frequency 4. 5 has frequency 7. 4 has frequency 4. 3, 4. 2 has frequency 3 and 1 has frequency 2. Now we can take a sum of all frequencies. If we take sum of all frequencies 35, that means our distribution is correct. In this way, the score and frequency distribution is prepared. Now consider second example. Now let us consider the scores. These are the scores, and we have to tabulate in frequency distribution. Total number of scores is equal to 40. The lowest score is 52. And highest score is equal to 97. Therefore, range of this distribution is equal to 97 minus 52, that means which is equal to 45. Now in last example, we have seen that the scores are occur frequently and their range is short. But here range of these scores is 45 and very few scores are repeated. So we have to consider the class intervals. Now considering or finding the class intervals or deciding the class intervals, you may decide firstly the length of class interval and calculate the number of class intervals. But or you can decide firstly the number of class intervals and then calculate the width of each class interval. But if you have convenient to any rule, you can decide it as you like. Here we can consider the width or length of class interval as 5 or 10. In general, the length of class interval is taken as multiple of 5, but it is not rule. But for convenience of calculation, we can take the length of class interval as 5, 10, 15 like this. Now here we take the width or length of each class interval is as 10. So take length of class is equal to 10 and range is 45. That means we have to consider the class intervals as which include the lowest score as well as the highest scores. So we can take the class intervals as from lowest as 51 to 60, then 61 to 70, 71 to 80, 81 to 90 and 91 to 100. Now we can find the tally marks, or we can count the each score in respect to class interval. Consider the first column as class or class interval. Then second, tally marks. Now write the highest class interval on at the top of the table. So consider the class interval as 91 to 100, then 81 to 90, 71 to 80, 61 to 70 and 51 to 60. Now we count the scores by making tally mark in the corresponding class interval. Now consider first score 84. 84 is included in the class interval 81 to 90. So count it as one tally mark. Then 80. 80 is included in class interval 71 to 80. 90 is included in 81 to 90. 82 is included in same class interval 81 to 90. 84 is again in the same class interval. In this way we can count each score in respect to class interval, and we get here the tally marks as for first class interval 91 to 100 as 4, then 81 to 90 10 tally marks, then 71 to 80 13 tally marks, then 61 to 70 8 tally marks, and last interval 51 to 60 5 tally marks. Now if we count the tally marks, then we get the frequency of respect to class interval. So consider third column as frequency. it is denoted by small f. Now for the first class interval 91 to 100, frequency is 4, then 10, 13, 8 and 5. Now count all these frequencies, we get n is equal to 40 and the given number, given scores are also in number 40. That means our distribution is correct. Now let us consider here the points as, if we consider any class interval, say 71 to 80, we know that the length of each class interval is here taken 10. But in general, how to find the length of each class interval and what are the upper limits and lower limits of class interval? Let us consider the class interval 71 to 80. Now we know that the score 71 is not only a point on score series, but it represent the interval as 70.5 to 71.5. So the lower limit of this class interval is 70.5. Again the score 80, its range is from 79 or 8, the score 80 present from 79.5 to 80.5. So upper limit of this class interval is 80.5. Now how to calculate length of class interval? Now length of class interval is equal to, it is always denoted by small I, and which is equal to upper limit of class interval minus lower limit of the class interval. Upper limit minus lower limit. Now upper limit of this class interval is 80.5 minus 70.5 and which is equal to 10. If we consider any class interval, then we can find by using this formula the class length of class interval. Now how to find the midpoint of class interval? Let us consider this example. Now midpoint of class interval is denoted by xm, x suffix m, and which can be found out by using lower limit of class interval plus upper limit of the class interval divided by 2. Now in this example, lower limit of this interval is 70.5 plus upper limit is 80.5 divided by 2, and which is equal to 151 upon 2, and we find here 75.5. In this way we can find the midpoint of each class interval. Now we find the cumulative frequency of the distribution. Cumulative frequency generally denoted by capital F. Now cumulative frequency is obtained the frequency of respective class successively, as say the lowest class is 51 to 60, so its cumulative frequency is equal to its frequency. Now for the next interval 61 to 70, add this cumulative frequency of 51 to 60 into frequency of that interval. That means 8 plus 5, it is 13. Then the cumulative frequency of the class interval 71 to 80 is calculated by its frequency plus cumulative frequency of the below class. That means 26, 13 plus 13, 26. Again we can find here 10 plus 26 means 36. That means cumulative frequency of 81 to 90 is 36. Similarly, the cumulative frequency of 91 to 100 class interval as 36 plus 4. That means it is equal to 40. Here also always remember that the total of frequencies is equal to the cumulative frequency of highest class interval. That means highest class interval is 91 to 100. Its cumulative frequency is 40, and the sum of all frequencies is equal to 40. Now we will calculate percentage cumulative frequency. This percentage cumulative frequency can be calculated by say we can use a formula at cumulative frequency multiplied by 100 upon n. N is equal to total number of frequencies or total number of scores. In this way we can calculate the cumulative frequency of each class interval here. The cumulative frequency of last class interval 51 to 60 is 12.50. Then next is 32.50. Then 65.00, 90.00, and last one is 100.00. That means cumulative frequency of highest class interval is 100. In this way we have seen the organization of data in the form of frequency distribution. In next part we will consider the central tendency and measures of central tendency.